All right, ladies. First of all, thanks for doing this. How's your golf? Like, what are your handicaps? Let's start with each one of you. Why don't you introduce yourselves and tell us what your handicap is?
Hi, I'm Nicole Schroeder. I'm originally from Rockland, California. Came up to Oregon State. I just graduated this year, and I'm going to be heading back down to California to start my working career. My handicap is like a +2. I think all of us are right around scratch.
Not not a big
I'm
deal.
Ellie Slum.
Not a big
Sorry.
deal. Sorry, Ellie. Go ahead. Sorry, Ellie. Go ahead.
You're good. I'm Ellie Slama. I'm from Salem, Oregon, so just about an hour away from Corvallis, where we are now. I'm a senior. I'm graduating in a month here, and I have an extra year of eligibility that I'm going to use due to COVID. And I think my handicap's like
Okay, got
+4,
it.
+5.
Okay, got it.
Hi, my name's Izzy Taylor. I'm from Gold Coast, Australia. I'm a sophomore on the team here, and my handicap is.
All right, ladies. So tell us about, so first of all, thank you for coming on the podcast. We are very excited to be having the Let Them Play tournament, which will be this Thursday and Friday. You will be there. But to help give folks a sense of how we got here, let's take a quick step back and talk to me about the Baton Rouge tournament. Just give a sense for people who don't follow women's golf. I know you probably find that shocking, but for people who aren't living and dying by women's golf, talk about what happened, why that was so frustrating, and then I want to ask you a bunch of questions about being a female golf player. But can you set the stage of what happened? I think it was 2 weekends ago at this point, or a week and a half ago about at this point.
Yeah, so we qualified for the Baton Rouge Regional. I think it's probably about 50, 60 teams make it to regionals, and they split them between 4 regions. And so we got actually the furthest region from us, which is interesting, but it was fun. And we headed down there. We played in our practice round, and then Monday there was some weather, and we didn't even get to go to the golf course. We sat in the hotel room and kept getting texts saying that it was going to be delayed. And then by 11:45 that day, they canceled our round. There was 7 hours of sunshine and no storms after that point the rest of that day. So that was very frustrating because we knew that we could have gone out and played at that point, but they had canceled it so early that there was no way for us to go out at all. And then basically the same exact thing happened Tuesday for our second round. They canceled it again by noon.
Did it rain Monday night?
It did rain Monday night, and it rained Tuesday morning, but there was, by 2 or 3 o'clock in Monday and Tuesday, we were totally able to play. The course was playable. There were a few bunkers that had puddles in them and a couple random puddles on the course that weren't, in play. But yeah, and then you want to tell them about Wednesday?
Yeah, so on Wednesday we get there about 8:30 for a 10 o'clock start time. One of the coaches that was inside the top 6 went out and they texted in the group and said, I don't believe the course is playable. So the committee came back and said, okay, we're going to postpone it to 11. So we just kind of stuck around, continued to warm up a bit. Coaches went out. They didn't see very many maintenance crews on the course. Then we got word that it was going to be postponed till 12. And we're like, really? Like, we've been here, like, we're ready to go. Come on. People had conversations with officials and committees and were just brushed off by them. There wasn't really much explanation that was given to the players, let alone the coaches either. Then they called a coaches meeting to happen at 11:30. We were supposed to be heading out to the course to play at 11:30. And so every single player was kind of outraged. Like, if you're going to cancel it, like, tell it to our face, like, talk to us, like, explain to us. And so the players and the coaches gathered at the base of the stairs there and kind of forced to have a whole collective meeting rather than just the coaches. And that's when everyone's seen that video where the gentleman comes out and says it's playable but not championship level. Championship caliber, championship level is not a phrase that's thrown around in golf. So it's not like we are having a clear understanding of what that means. And then the gentleman just turned around and went up the stairs.
So what do you think that means? That it's playable, but it's not championship caliber playable or championship level? Like, what were they saying?
Yeah, I think like the idea about them saying it wasn't championship ready was that I think championship ready is the course being in perfect condition. There not being any water on the golf course, all of the bunkers being in play. But it didn't seem like they were willing to compromise some of those things where, you know, like UCPGA and LPGA events, we've played in hundreds of events, amateur events, where the course hasn't always, it's very rarely the course is going to be perfect, you know, it's nature. And so they were just not willing to compromise anything and believed that the course had to be in top condition. And yeah, it was just really hard to go through as athletes. You know, it's been our goal. We've been preparing for this tournament the whole year, and then for it to get shut
super
down,
heartbreaking. Oh, go ahead.
The thing is too, it's like, yeah, in a perfect world, we'd love perfect conditions, but we play an outdoor sport. We know that the cookie's not always going to crumble perfectly, and you got to roll with the punches. And at the end of the day, everyone's playing the same golf course. So it's going to be equitable.
Yeah, no, totally. I mean, you're all
way.
playing on the same course. I don't think that you are like a bunch of prima donnas where you're like, ooh, if a hair of grass is cut wrong or there's a puddle on the 9th green that you're going to throw your hands and not play. I heard that afternoon the LSU men were able to play. What?
That was Monday, actually. We went out for COVID testing on Monday to the golf course. And once we got there, a few teams were, you know, like saying, oh, like there's people at the back of the range that are practicing. And one of the players' dads actually took a photo and tweeted it and said something about, you know, why can the LSU men play practice the course when our women cannot? And that was a great point. And we still have not heard any.
Okay, so the nice gentleman comes down the stairs. He thinks he's going to meet with just the coaches. He's got all of you. He's got the angry mob of beautiful blonde women, as far as I can tell by looking at you guys. Got the angry mob of fierce women athletes, female athletes. He, hand on heart, turns around, walks away. And what's the decision that they make? They decided that the top, 6 teams?
Yep, the top teams and 3 individuals that were ranked from rankings that mean absolutely nothing once you get to regionals normally. And those were the teams that are now going to be at. And
there wasn't like a, hey, we'll try it again tomorrow. Why couldn't they wait till why was there no solution? Like, what about tomorrow? What about later this afternoon? Like,
they have a manual, and it was written in 1993. And it says, you know, if there's a weather delay, our next goal is going to be, instead of playing 54 holes, it's going to be to play 36. And then if there's another weather delay, it's going to be 18 instead of 36. And then the very last thing is, if we can't get in any holes, we'll just take the automatic top 6 and top 3 individuals. And then the last thing says that no play can, you know, go past Wednesday, which we have no idea why that's a rule.
And it's frustrating too, because if you were to look at any other handbook, if you looked at the softball handbook, any other outdoor sport, they have contingencies in place that allow them to play the following day. So like first in softball, for example, it's like if innings were to go past a certain number, or if they were playing more than so many games or innings in a day, they can't extend until that Monday, because for them, they play through the weekend. And so whereas you have golf, a sport that some can argue relies the most on weather conditions, is there's no backup plan or contingency to allow us to.
It's also just so funny, I think, like women. First of all, I give you guys so much credit. Like, you're hauling yourself from Oregon to all the way to Louisiana. You're like cooped up probably in like some shitty hotel room for 4 days. You're getting like are you like, how many of you have to sleep in one room?
Actually, this year we have our own rooms because of COVID, but in the past we've had 3.
The funniest thing planning the Let Them Play tour is how many questions there are about how many people we expect people to shove in a room, and we're like, no, everybody can have their own room. And they're like, really? We can have our own room? But anyway, so you haul yourselves to Louisiana. This is your main event. Like, for you seniors, this was it. Like, this is the end. And to not be able to play because it wasn't perfect, it's just so ironic to me, because so very few things in women's athletics are perfect. And then the other piece is, if you watch the video, and we should play the video.
So this is one of the most gut-wrenching decisions and announcements that I've ever been a part of. even though the course is playable, it's not playable at a championship. Therefore, top 6 teams that proceeded in advance all top 3 individuals. Again, heart wrenching decision that we had to make. Again, the course is playable.
It's playable. This is what we play. Yes. Are you serious? You should be ashamed of yourself. That is so terrible. Thank you for ending our careers. Thank you, seniors. I'm just crying.
We're going to load up.
I don't think any of you cared. Like, nobody cared that the course could have sucked and you guys would have been like, awesome. We would complain about this course for years. You would laugh about it, like the puddle, blah, 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 the greens, whatever. Were the coaches unanimous in that, hey, everybody wants to play? Or like, how did that dynamic?
Yeah, there was definitely a divide in the coaches. And I think, all the players, like they wanted to, all of us wanted to go to nationals, but I don't think anyone wouldn't be willing to prove their spot for nationals. It seemed like the top 6 teams though they seemed pretty content with not playing, obviously. And I think there was a big thing about, it got to a point on Wednesday where it was just going to be 18 holes. And the thing with golf is, you can go out and have a good day and you can go out and have a bad day, and the team can do that too. And when there's only 18 holes to decide who goes to a national championship, it's anyone's game. Like, it's any team on that at that tournament could have qualified for nationals if it was just 18 holes. And so I think that the top 6 teams didn't want to jeopardize their position in going to nationals. So you definitely saw, a few of the top 6 teams coaches, chatting with the rules officials and, saying like, well, like, I don't really think we don't really think this is playable. There was an argument that went down between one of the coaches in the top 6 and one of the coaches in the bottom 12. And it was honestly, it was very stressful to go through. Like, when none of us knew what was going on, all the information that the rules officials were deciding, that went straight to the head coaches. And then they were expected to give it out to us, but we never, as players, got anything directly said to us from rules officials. And also, like, the communication between the rules officials and coaches was, barely anything. We were barely getting updates. No one knew what was going on. There was a lot of questions that coaches were asking and not a lot of answers provided. So it was rough.
The hard part too is like, if we would have played on Wednesday, the conditions Wednesday were worse than they were on Monday and Tuesday. And so if we would have played Wednesday, there would have been the question of like, well, if we can play now, why couldn't we have played the last couple of days? And so then at that point, you had the top or the bottom 12 teams itching to play. And then once finally got the opportunity to play, those top 6 teams would be upset that we were playing. So it's just, there's never going to be someone that's going to be perfectly happy. And there's always going to be someone that
it's hard. It's so, and then the internet comes along, right? And the dad posts something, the video gets posted, and then, there's an uproar. And in this case, what I'm so happy about is that we come trotting in, and I'm like up in my DMs, like I'm just DMing a bunch of people. You guys are DMing rigs. Everybody's talking, and I'm so proud that we're going to put this thing on. Like, I cannot wait to watch you guys play. I hope there is the biggest crowd on the planet to come cheer you on, because you deserve that moment. I mean, I can't. How old were you? How old were each one of you when you started playing golf?
I was 12.
I was probably like 4.
Okay, so like you've been playing, at least half of your life, right, ish, and you've given yourself to the sport. I can't imagine the hours and the sacrifice that have gone into that. Like, I'm just happy that you can all go see who the best woman is out there. Like, that's the whole point of sport, is to see, you know, the joy of the rivalry and the competition and the celebration of the athleticism. How did the internet response surprise you? Did Barstool coming in, like, was that weird? Like, how did you think about that?
I thought it was pretty amazing, honestly. When something happens that drastic in a women's sport, you don't expect it to get that much publicity. And it was really amazing, the support that we got and the amount of people that reached out to us. And Barstool coming in and saying, you know, we're going to host this tournament was just like something that made us all smile, which was really difficult to do in that time. So I think it was just like an opportunity that we all just took, and we were like, thank you guys so much. And like, we were so excited to have a chance to actually play and, you know, be with these other teams that also have the same loss as us, and just like all get together and have fun. And
that's awesome. All right, ladies. So we will see you on Thursday in Phoenix, Arizona. And we can't wait. We're fired up about it. What are you most excited about, and who do you think is going to win?
For me, I'm just excited. So I'm a fifth-year senior, got robbed of my season last year with COVID, and then this happened this year. And my big reason to come back this year was to go out on my terms in my collegiate career. And that's what I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to enjoying one last round of golf with some of my favorite people, and just enjoying it. And I'm really excited to see what Barstool's put up for us. I just can't believe that this is happening, and we're so grateful to you guys for making this happen.
We'll probably mess it up like about 30 times. So you think dealing with the NCAA is tough? Like, wait till you've got us on the steps. We'll be like, the course is perfect? There's no way the course is perfect. All right, so go.
I am just most excited about growing the sport and growing women's golf. I've played it my whole life, and I've seen, you know, it just not get very much attention and everything be overlooked. And so I think it's really amazing that Barstool is hosting this. And, you know, we've had people that don't ever support golf or don't even know that women's golf is a big deal, and they're commenting and they're saying that they want to be there, which is really amazing. So I'm excited for that.
That's great.
Yeah, I'm on the same track as Ellie. You know, I think it's great that this event and the publicity that has come with, you know, what happened in Baton Rouge has really put women's golf on the map. And I think it's great for growing the game. And, you know, there's so many people who have reached out to us, and we've had interactions with people on social media and stuff that don't even play golf, and they're just interested in wanting us to play, and they're wanting to come and support. And I think, you know, for us, we're just really grateful to be able to play. Like, you know, it's been a really tough past 2 years with COVID and now this, and like, we're just really excited for this opportunity to be part of, you know, we like such a positive event, and we think it's really gonna, you know, do great things.
That's awesome. All right, we can't wait to see you in Phoenix. Good luck to the Beavers, and thank you, ladies, for doing this, and we'll see you later this week. Bye, guys. Good luck.
Bye.
Good luck. Oh, they're so cute. How are we doing, Rigsy?
We're great. I'm at the course.
Oh, you are?
Mm-hmm.
How is it?
Pretty sick.
Riggs, is it championship playable or not?
It's championship playable, baby. Let's do it.
I just talked to the Oregon ladies, who we'll get to after this, and I was like, dude, you think the NCAA is a shit show? Wait till you see us run a golf tournament. Just kidding.
Oh yeah. Wait till they see that. But it's gonna be fun. I'm jacked up. This place is great. They're pumped too.
They're pumped. That's awesome. Okay, so Riggsy, for everybody listening to this, first of all, hi. How are you?
I'm doing very well. I'm great. I just got back last night from California, and I'm at the course. I'm scouting the venue.
And how's the Barstool Classic going?
Great. So far, so good. I think we've done 8 of them now, maybe.
Yep.
8 out of 26. So yeah, we're knocking them up. We've already done more this year than we did. We've done as many this year as we did the entire first year, and we're not even to the start date yet of the first year.
It's amazing. Your beard's looking scruffy.
Yeah, I probably need to shave. I broke my razor the other day.
Oh, really? I don't mind it.
Yeah. You don't like it? Okay, all right. Well, maybe we'll keep it. I don't know.
All right, whatever. I'm not sexually harassing you. But anyways, all right, so Riggs, I'm so fired up about Let Them Play. For anybody listening to this, just give a quick rundown. We cover with the ladies from Oregon State, we cover what happened in Baton Rouge. But why don't you give from your perspective, from our Barstool perspective, just the origination of Let Them Play, how it came together, what's been happening all weekend. Like give some texture to what's happening.
Yeah, I mean, I would say Thursday in my 5 years at Barstool was by far the busiest and most hectic day I've ever had. But it was also the most fulfilling. Like things were just happening, and they were happening fast. And I would say it probably started Wednesday night. That video went viral of the guy on the staircase. I tweeted about it a few times, and I saw a good amount of the tweets where like, you should invite some of these girls to the Barstool Classic, or you should put on a Barstool Classic. So the wheels were turning a little bit Wednesday night. And then, conveniently we were together, like our Barstool Classic team that pretty much is built to put on golf events. We were together. We were in Southern California. We were getting ready to put on, our 8th venue in the last 2 months. So we were together. And then I got a text from Dave on Thursday morning that said, you really should put on a tournament for all the canceled teams. And we went back and forth a little bit. And I said, okay, so we have like the resources. And he said, you've got whatever you need from Barstool Sports. And that kind of started a conversation with you and me and Lisa Litvak, just on like, okay, guys, give me a rough sketch outline of what we actually need to do this. We need dates, we need a golf course, we need compliance to be checked off, and we need commitments. We need the teams to actually show up. And then we got to work. We just all started making phone calls. We activated the merchandise department. We activated the finance department. We activated the sales team. We activated the events team, the content team, the production team. Everybody was pretty much mobilizing on it. And, by maybe 2 hours later, we were ready to just tweet it into existence. And I told Lisa, I was like, I think if I just fucking tweet it, there's no going back.
Yeah,
like, we're going to just make it happen.
Yeah, it's happening.
So I just started tweeting that we were doing it.
Yeah.
And at that point we were like, yeah, hell yeah, don't let us go backwards. And that really started things in motion. People started reaching out. I reached out to the Thunderbirds who run the Waste Management Phoenix Open, which has raised tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars for charity. And they are as connected as you can be. And they jumped on the case trying to find a golf course. I reached out to Troon Golf, who owns, 300 something courses at least. And they started trying to find a course. And, by 3 or 4 p.m., we had a golf course lined up. We kind of thought we had some approvals from a compliance standpoint. We had all kinds of different options from apparel. If they weren't allowed to wear their school's apparel, we were going to have apparel mocked up for them and ready to go. So by mid-afternoon, it was like, we're fucking doing this. We just now need to tell the teams that, hey, this is happening. So things happen really fast.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing how virtual it was nearly instantaneous. Like, I'm on it, you're on it, Dave's on it, Lisa's on it, the merch team is on it. We're looking for insurance. You find some random lawyer who understands NCAA compliance. We have a lawyer who's literally been here maybe 15 minutes, and we're like, hey, Paul, like, you ready to go? Let's go, Paul. He was great. He was like on it all weekend long. You and Lisa are on planes for half of it. We're like figuring out the Wi-Fi on the planes. You got the coaches emailing everyone. We've got the players in the DMs. And it was so stressful in some ways, but it also just wasn't. You're exactly right. Like, you tweeted it into existence, and then it was like, all right, now we just got to figure it out. And then this weekend, like, it was intense, but not stressful. You know what I mean? It's like, all right, we got these sponsors in. We've got Stoolies wanting to donate. We've got, like, all right, just bring it together.
Yeah, and it's, we were doing the whole thing Thursday from a putting green at Monarch Beach Golf Links overlooking the Pacific Ocean with 108 golfers all around us drinking and having Trulies. And we're making phone calls. We're on speaker with, some drunk Stoolie from San Diego rolling over, talking to us about, the putt that he had on the 13th hole. And it was chaotic, but it wasn't stressful. It was fun. And I got an email from Lisa in the middle of it all Friday, I think, that just said, like, this is the most fulfilling thing in my 15 years of doing this that I've ever worked on.
Totally.
So, and every note, right? Like every email, note, text, DM that came in from, a player or a coach that presented another issue also came with a, thank you so much for doing this. This means the world to us. So it was like, okay, this is another problem we got to solve.
Yeah.
But when it comes with that little, caveat, it's like, okay, yeah, no problem. And issues just kept coming up, and we kept just adding them to the list of being like, all right, well, we're just going to solve that issue.
Yeah,
Like,
we're gonna knock
okay,
it
yeah,
down.
like,
We're gonna knock it down. We're gonna knock it down.
yeah, we'll just figure it out. Like it doesn't matter. And we're still doing it. I mean, every minute that we're on, I mean, how many fucking email chains are you and I on right now?
It's
Like
insane.
30?
I literally was saying this morning, I'm in the how many girls to a room conversation. I've had about 65 how many girls to a room conversation, which I like.
Yep.
I'm like, every girl gets her own room. Every girl gets her own room. Like, let's go.
And I mean, the issues that we've got everything from, I get an email from a head coach that's like, hey, I'm actually going to rent a van.
Yeah, totally.
And we're
is that
not going to
compliant?
do an Uber. Like, is that compliant? I'm like, actually, let me talk
We
to the
gotta
lawyer.
check.
And then Mississippi State comes out of the fucking clouds, and they're like, hey, our athletic director said that if our whole team goes, we can go on the school's private jet. So in terms of reimbursement, how does that work? And I'm like, well, we're not going to pay for your fucking private jet, but like if you submit the funds that it would have cost for you guys all to fly coach, we can reimburse up to that amount. So it's been nonstop. The amount of, like you said, little
nonstop
issues
logistics.
but it's good.
It's
And like
awesome.
at one point I had to text the guy that's the compliance from the compliance office at Mississippi State. And I just texted him and said, like, what's your name? Because like I've been talking to him for a day and a half straight. And I was like, I just don't have your name. I just know you're just coming. Oh, he's like, I'm Steve Smith. I was like, oh, thank you. So I was like, we had sent
Riggs.
50 texts back and forth, but I just was like, I missed your name, bro. I'm sorry. So, so it's all that. I got guys on my phone, like coaches, I got parents, I got compliance officers. We've got outside counsel that we hired that specializes in NCAA stuff. So the whole thing has been a whirlwind. And I don't thank God I wasn't hungover Thursday morning, because it could have, none of this would have happened. I don't think I would have been like, no,
You
we're just not
missed
gonna do
it.
that.
I'm tired. But you know what else I love about it is I think it just shows you, so many people have been like, it was like this when we did the Barstool Fund. It was literally the same exact thing where everyone came back to Dave and I and was like, the government should have done this. And it's like, people were saying with this, like the NCAA should have done this. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. Like, I really believe in us so much that if there's a will, there's a way. And when we have the will, it's so frictionless. Like, that's what I love about it is there was so much shit flying around of how do we pull this thing off? How do we pay for it? We forgot about this. What about that? What about this? What about that? But everybody just chipped in. And it makes, I don't have any bitterness that the NCAA couldn't find another course nearby in Baton Rouge, or it doesn't make me bitter that they couldn't figure out. It makes me so grateful that chaos is such a ladder where this is such a great opportunity for us. I hope we let them play. I hope we make that an entire arm of this business. And I think we could.
Absolutely. And, we're already, people are like, this is an annual event, right?
Completely.
Or you guys are going to do, and that's another aspect I think, we had the graphics department coming up with logos. Like, what are we going to call this? That's amid all the other conversations about, how's the course? What's the format going to be? Now I've got teams lobbying because, we're going to have a team. We just got approval that it's going to be a waiver submitted by the NCAA. It's going to allow for a team competition. So typically they play, 5 scores count, all the scores count, and you add up all the numbers after, all the rounds of 5 scores. But obviously, not every team has 5. So are we going to do 4 or 3 scores? Now I've literally got coaches lobbying at me from all angles of well, we should do 4 because of this. So we're dealing with that. And amid all of that, we had to come up with a name, a logo, put it on merchandise and kind of brand it without looking like assholes that are making it about us, right? We're trying to make it about the girls, the young women that are playing. But a cool logo goes a long way, and branding an event and selling merchandise. So yeah, I mean, I think that for us, it's opening the door to we could do
this all day long.
Yeah. And as someone, almost everyone that works at Barstool or follows Barstool, a huge percentage of them at least, played competitive sports on some level, whether it's high school, whether it's college or whatever. And that when you have an event that means something to you, that means something to anyone, it just changes everything. It changes the way that you approach it. I'm getting videos right now from a bunch of the girls that are out grinding on the range. They're hitting balls. They're coming to our tournament because they want to win. And so if we can provide something like that for, even outside of just these 12 teams and the 6 individuals that weren't allowed to play in Baton Rouge, we'd be crazy not to at this
Totally.
point. So yeah, and we've got moving pieces. Like we've got some surprises, I think that that are going to come, this week when the event kind of transpires. So I think it's going to be, an even cooler event than it would be if it were just happening. It would be awesome. But I think that we're in a good spot. Like we've been training for this for 3 years. Like our team, Lisa and Trisha and myself and you and everyone that kind of has been running and making sure that we put on events smoothly. Like we're ready for this. This isn't going to be a problem for us.
Yeah, no, we're going to crush it. And I also, it was kind of like I was getting fired up on Friday when you and I were talking about, or Thursday. Like, how do we get more people here to watch these women than have like ever gone to show up for women's golf? And like, that's the power. That's just the power of Barstool is that we can make people care about something that is just awesome and worthwhile. Like, I mean, I interviewed these 3 women from Oregon. They were amazing. And you know what? I bet every woman out there is amazing, and they just want their chance to play. They've had a shit 2 years with COVID. They've gotten jerked around. They basically got their finale yanked out from under them, and then like from the clouds, now they're going to Phoenix, Arizona. Like, let's go.
I know, 100%. Like I walked to the first tee was the first thing I did. And I said, all right, how many people can we fit in this area? Like, because I've got a ton of inquiries about like, hey, are there spectators for this? So,
how many can
I
we
think
fit?
I think we're going to get a pretty good turnout of fans.
Good. Yeah.
I'm looking, I need to go drive the course and understand like, where can we really allow people? Like, okay, we could plan for, let's say 50 people show up, fine. But like, what if 2,000 people show up? Like, I just don't know. Like we went to Australia, we had 100 people show up at a bar to like come hang out with us in Melbourne. So we have no idea what we're going to get. But I do want to open up to fans. I know a lot of the girls' families are coming out. Like they had gone out to Baton Rouge and they got screwed and weren't even allowed to watch them play. So some people's parents or families or whoever are coming out. So there will be people around. So we need to be able to ensure that we can handle that you can like deal with spectators from a bathroom standpoint, from a drink standpoint. People need to have water. It's going to be hot as shit in Arizona. We can't have like a dehydration issue. There's insurance that needs to be handled behind it that we're now talking about. So like all of these things are just issue after issue that comes up, but it's going to be very fun. We've got an extremely competent team. Lisa's coming out tonight with Justin, who works for her now. So our team will be out here pretty much tonight all the way through Saturday morning, and we're just going to figure it out.
Yeah, we're going to crush it. Okay, so if people want to follow Let Them Play, you can follow Riggs. You can follow anyone from Barstool, obviously. Dave, me, whoever. Foreplay, certainly. We will be covering the event on social. So Barstool will be covering it. Riggs will be covering it. Foreplay will be covering it. This pod will obviously cover it. We will try to show as much as possible. We're not broadcasting it. But I think it's going to be a really special day. And Riggs, I give you so much credit. Like, I'm just like so proud to work with you.
Thank you. I feel the same way. I loved how we just mobilized and got it done, and we just were on phone all day, and it just is going to happen. So it's very cool. The messages we've gotten already from the girls, like they're fired up, and not just to participate, but to like compete, to genuinely give it their best. They're grinding. They're out on the range right now. They're booking. I just talked to the staff at the pro shop, and they're like, they've been calling nonstop, booking tee times. They're asking about the courses. They're like, this is a tournament. And so it's our duty, not just to have been able to check the box to like, oh, we're doing it, but to like do it right. And so that's kind of the next steps, and we'll be busy as shit. Meanwhile, we've got Frankie, Trent, and Jake are in Kiowa Island, South Carolina, covering a major championship. So Barstool Golf's all over the place right now.
That's awesome. Riggs, thanks so much, and we will see you in Phoenix this week.
Thank you, Miss Erika.
Okay, bye-bye.